John Ochapinti here.
It's AL.
NEPA Scenes own Carson Daly.
Filkowski. Yeah. Filkowski.
Yeah. And tonight, we're here with AL Filkowski. Got that?
Yes, nailed it.
What's going on, man? It's been a while.
Yeah.
Hello. Welcome to Beyond the Break podcast. I'm your host, AL, and this guy here is
Johnny Acapanto.
Achapinchi.
Achabanana.
Achabanana. Oh, that's a cell phone, right? For those who have seen that. We've got a really cool episode today. We've got Jared is here. We'll be talking about Jared, aka Thanatos, as well. But we've got a guest today who's a filmmaker, a local filmmaker. His name is Mike Perrella. Mike Perrella is a guerrilla-style filmmaker from northeastern Pennsylvania, who has collaborated with bigger names in the DIY video space, namely various properties held by Screenwave Media, as well as transitioning into the more traditional approach to film as a career. From film to short comedic sketches, weddings, to full-blown concerts and convention coverage, he tries to get his hands messy with basically anything. His passion has resulted in him being featured in a film festival with his signature out there style at the forefront, always driving a reaction from unsuspecting audiences. All this is from someone who's turned away from the traditional approach of filmmaking training to dive headfirst into just experience, doing it himself, starting with home movies and moving to filmmaking skate videos for local shops. And now he recently shifted focuses to more of a narrative-driven style. His philosophy of creativity and collaboration is highlighted in the way he regards to the people he works with, to be one of the most important elements in his projects. Even when not manning the helm, his goal is to boost them up as well. So that's our guest, and he's also him and one of our own, who was not one of our own at the time, I must say that, but Brian David. They both worked together for free to make Thanatos's Hello video, which we'll be showing later on. But we have a reel from Michael, so let's check that out. So yeah, I've seen several of his videos. I've been actually checking out his work for a while now, and I'm always impressed with everything, from the cinematography, his acting. I mean, so I'm really excited to have him on here. But before we get into that, we do have a couple of announcements. First of all, January 1st, season 4 signups, they are open. So get ready for that. We're also we're working out the details, but after speaking with Joe Caviston, we will be collaborating for the Electric City Music Conference in 2023. So that's super exciting as well. And I personally, I'm excited to officially announce that I will be working on the full feature Nana Coke, and I'm like super, super excited about that. So I'll be the lighting director. And that's it. I mean, Johnny, what you got?
I checked out his YouTube channel today, and I was thoroughly terrified. The one video it was so good though. It was equally as funny as it was scary.
Yeah, no, he's his style's. So, speaking of, let's check out a video, right? What do we got here?
We got Hello by Thanatos.
That is such a badass video, dude.
Yeah,
and the
thanks.
song, I mean, like
That was-
everything about that is so badass, man.
It was a lot of fun to make. It was cool meeting Jared, and yeah, we had a lot of fun with that one.
Man, so Michael, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no,
Welcome.
It's awesome. Yeah, you know, our producer John Fry was also a part of your production there. You want to tell us about that a little bit?
Yeah, he absolutely was. So we obviously went into this having a lot of like wacky ideas and everything like that. And the one idea was to have somebody with just this like plastic, like the classic horror plastic bag suffocation scene over their head. But we wanted to like introduce the wires, kind of like almost controlling them doing that. John came over. John, was it your lunch break that you came over on?
I mean, I just left work and just came over.
Oh, it's even better.
So like, I could just be like, "Hey, boss, that's promotion."
Yeah. So he came over
Yeah.
graciously. It was like a very last minute thing that we had going on because we had somebody lined up and then they canceled out. And then John immediately jumped on it as soon as Jared gave him a call.
Well,
It was
when
awesome.
someone says, "Hey, we want to suffocate you with a plastic bag in a sweaty attic," I'm like, "Yes."
He's like,
man."
"That's a
I'm
kink.
like, "Yes,
and
baby."
that's your kink.
Yeah,
It was,
do I
yeah,
have
it
to
was.
pay for this, or it was free.
He's taking all my story here because like literally
Yeah.
that's all I was gonna talk about. It's like he just kept it like, oh yeah, choke me and like
Yeah,
all this
yeah,
stuff, like
just
with
try
the
to make
wire.
it as sexual as
Like,
possible.
okay.
Why does
John's
that
like, wait,
not
this is a
surprise me?
music video?
Yeah,
He's like,
yeah.
"Oh,
That's what I
okay."
got. That was my nonstop. I mean, you have to make that joke like as many times as you can.
Oh man,
I
no,
basically
you were
just
a
had
champ
light
though.
bulbs shining into my eyeball and just plastic bag and like cable that they said they found like along the fucking Luzerne River or whatever. The
God.
No, it was even more. It was even more crazy. I actually was outside of my house, like taking off all the old wires and everything like that. Like
he's
literally
"I
just
spent 2
stripping
days
my own
stripping
house.
this one."
Yeah.
Like, whatever, dude, just tighter.
The things we
had to
do
that
for
too.
art, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we had to do that take a couple times too. So
The funny
absolute
thing is,
champ.
I watched that video a bunch of times, and I don't know. You're so good at video, and like, that video is like exactly what I love. Like, I love glitchy propaganda.
Yeah, you got
type
those
shit.
glitches in there.
So
you
like
got
that, like I try to look for myself all the time. I'm like, ooh, there's me, and I just say it like 900 times. So I don't.
It
even know
blends
which one.
through, and the big thing is like a lot of that's due to Brian David's style because I collaborate with Brian constantly. Like
He's the
we
man.
essentially every project that I work on,
I owe
he
Brian
is
$50.
my guy. Yeah. So and
Nice.
you met him obviously on that shoot, but yeah, he kept like asking like, should we go glitchier? Should we go glitchier? And just every time it's just screw it, let's just go nuts.
Yeah, let's make the text glitch. Let's make the video glitch.
We were having fun with that one, yeah. And it's like for zero budget. I mean, all I did was like grab a bunch of the CRT TVs that I use for a bunch of the other horror stuff that we do. And then I was like, can we put these in the woods? Can we bring like an old 80s camera and get him like mirrored in? So,
funny how, like, dude, when I got into this stuff, it's like music videos. I've always said that, like, I would be so good at making like music videos, or like I'm good at putting the music to something that's happening, right? So, like, music videos, when you're making them, it just slowly, you're like, woods, cable, it just builds on that shit.
Yeah.
And then when you're in there editing it, it builds into something completely different. I love that shit, man.
Yeah, I've noticed.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I've noticed a common theme with with you and the TVs.
Yeah, you love TVs, and I love.
Yeah,
that.
you love old TVs.
I don't know what you're talking
Isn't
about.
one of your logos, isn't one of your logos the guy with the TV head too?
That's actually that's me. There's a couple different versions of that. So in that reel, the very last image where it's like the red black, that's me on one of Brian's films, and then the one with the unmarketable text on it is actually from our last short film. We just grabbed a still from it, and then I just decided to kind of spruce it up a little bit.
No, I love that.
So where does your love for old TVs stem from?
It's vintage stuff in general. Like behind me, you could obviously like old video games and stuff like that. But like honestly, like old PCs, like old TVs, everything, all that vintage technology. There was something about that and horror and the weird abstract like dreams of being able to like transcend with technology that like kind of gets lost in the more modern age because we're getting more grounded into what the reality is.
Mm-hmm.
I love the horror fantasy of like that old style. So I obviously invest heavily in it.
Is that an Okama Game Sphere in the back from South Park?
No, I wish I had a real life version of that.
I'm gonna pop out of here, but it was a blast making that video. I look forward to working with you more in the future. I'm working with Brian now, so it's only a matter of time before you'll probably be working at our company. I mean, these two literally work for us now.
That'd be awesome.
So hopefully soon enough.
I mean, I'm always down to put a plastic bag over your head, man.
Fuck yeah, daddy. All right.
So yeah, no, that's really unique, and I think that's very awesome. So yeah, what do you edit on?
So I'm sitting right next to me. It's my custom rig. It's nothing really crazy. I mean, the rig that I edit on, maybe 4 years old at this point. When I build them, I try and budget myself to around $2,000 to $3,000 worth of like just the actual internal components. But yeah, it's the accessibility of like PCs, and I'm not a PC versus Mac guy. I do on PC. I have experience with Macs. I could even go to Linux if we really need to, but
Whoa.
I try, yeah. But it's one of those I don't try.
Ubuntu?
What was that?
You ever go on? Is that Ubuntu?
I use Linux Mint for my version. No real reason. It was just the first tutorial I saw on YouTube when I started using Linux. So, but
Nice.
that's the thing. I try not to let like the gear kind of limit me. That's a very common
Yeah.
theme that you'll see.
What about your software? Is it Adobe like Premiere? Are you on Premiere or?
So I personally switch between Premiere and DaVinci Resolve.
Okay.
I've kind of been leaning towards DaVinci more so as I get more into color grading recently.
Okay.
I know Brian, who again edits the vast majority of stuff that we work on. I know he's a very big After Effects Premiere guy. So I keep trying to get him to go to DaVinci, but he loves Premiere. So I try not to poke that too much.
Yeah, no, I'm also a Premiere guy, but DaVinci, I mean, it's a powerful tool, man.
It's that color for me. That's
It's
honestly
a good movie.
So,
What?
so you do all your cuts and any kind of effects and transitions, etc. That you may, you do that all on Premiere, and then you export them all into DaVinci. Then is that what you do?
No, I kind of go one or the other. If it's going to be something that requires even like very, very light After Effects, we'll just stay within the Adobe family. If I know I'm not going to go effects heavy, or it's something that I could do with relative ease in DaVinci, I usually kind of just end up over on that program. Even the one short film that I have sitting on my desktop that I need like two more scenes for that I'm slacking on. It's fully in DaVinci, and there's not too much going on. Because that's what you'll notice. It's like we have effects, but they're not crazy. We try to utilize it just to expand the story, not to like hinge on them. Even the glitchiness of stuff, it has to do with the fact that he's essentially becoming a wired person in that Thanatos video. I like to use it as an extension of story rather than I don't want to say crutch, but crutch.
Right. No, of course. And I actually noticed you had some pretty cool lighting in there too, with the red in the background, but he was lit normal, so I thought that was a pretty cool touch there as well.
That scene was actually, this is a behind the scenes one for that. That scene was completely different from what we were originally supposed to do. We were originally going to have a totally different lighting structure and everything like that. Ended up finding a stray cat on the middle of this backcountry road that just came up and hung out on set the entire time with us, that now my mom has. So we gained
name
a cat.
Thanatos?
No, ironically,
Thanatos.
kind of a music sounding name, but name is Emo now.
Emo.
And that was her choice, not mine.
Okay.
Speaking of emo nights.
Oh, John.
Shout out Joe Caviston. There you go.
Shout out Joe Caviston, Emo Night.
ECMC.
ECMC. Whoop, whoop.
But yeah,
Okay.
that's for the lighting, even like we try and go very basic. I know a lot of people like ask sometimes like, well, what's your like standard? What's your philosophy on this? And like all that. And it honestly, it's just like work with what you got and just make it look cool. Doesn't matter if you have like 19,000 point lighting, like they tell you in every YouTube tutorial, just make it look cool. You're gold.
Right. Well, I mean, to me, it depends on the mood that you're going for. So
100%. Yeah.
What's the mood? What's the vibe? My big thing is you got to have the twinkle in the eye, have to 100% every shot,
I'm not saying like for larger productions and like where you actually start getting into that. And like, that's the thing, what you're talking about at this point. And you could like bend lighting and do all that kind of stuff to really make it work for you. You see a lot of people like coming in and they think they need to like know everything about everything, and it's like you just need to experiment first.
It's one or the other. I feel like a lot of amateur filmmakers, if you will, lack on two things: lighting. Well, three things: lighting, color grading of any sorts, even just punching up the colors a little bit, and audio. It's like they completely forget about audio, and audio is such a, you can sit and watch a grainy video that has great audio and you can sit and watch through it. But you can't, or have a harder time sitting through something that may look beautiful, but the audio is just scratchy and annoying and you can't hear what they're saying, so that's audio is so important.
Yeah, there's a great concept on it, and I might be misquoting the title here, but it's called Big Screen Small Speaker, and then Small Screen Big Speaker, and it
Right.
discusses how audio affects your emotions completely versus just picture.
Right,
So
right.
yeah, 100%
Absolutely.
agree with that.
So yeah, I'm super happy to be working with Encore Studios. They do a lot of that for us, and that's shout out to them. That's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
They've gone far above and beyond their responsibility as a sponsor. So yeah, they're great. How do you run your audio when you're doing dialogue? Do you have like a field mixer or anything like that?
Yeah, so our most versatile one that we usually tend to stick to on most sets, we run Rode NTG3s, usually on a boom pole, sometimes with a C stand if we are able to.
And how many
Uh,
inputs do those have?
so for the NTG, that's the actual mic for it, and then we run that usually into a Zoom F6 field recorder which, as the name implies, 6 inputs,
6.
XLR.
Yeah, I'm actually using a H4n.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm running all this through. And I love it for small interviews and stuff. It works out pretty good, or even just a 2-person dialogue works out pretty well.
Yeah, because they even have now, I think it's like the H3 or the H2. It's the little 2-input version of the F6, 32-bit float, which if you don't really know about that, you could scream into that microphone, pull it all the way down and make it sound like a regular level, which is
Right.
the reason I went with the F6, because if we do very quiet, it's very loud, we want to be able to have that versatility to go back and kind of correct it later.
Now, what do you use for your audio editing?
So audio editing, I use exclusively Adobe Audition.
I love it. I think it's so underrated.
It's
You
the
know, I
first
think
one that I'm sorry.
I just think it's really powerful, and I think more producers should be using
I've
it.
never had an issue with it, and that was what I learned to do vocals on when I was producing music for the first time ever, and I just kind of expanded that into film when I was still using Sony Vegas back when they owned Vegas.
Right.
So I would combine with those, and to this day, just all of the audio is just through Audition, and especially now that you can do 5-channel, 7-channel Atmos audio through it, it's amazing.
Oh yeah, yeah, I love it. So yeah, so aside from all of that, you also do acting. You're a comedian, actor.
Yeah, I try to like stay away from it unless we're like doing like the short funny skits and stuff like that. But
Really, you're so good though.
I have a lot of fun with it. Because especially the reason like you see a lot of the comedy from me is I grew up with like Kids in the Hall, Whitest Kids You Know, like a lot of that kind of stuff. Especially rest in peace, Trevor Moore. He was like an idol to me, and that affected me for a while.
Dude, all my idols are dead. It's like
it sucks.
It sucks.
But yeah, like growing up with that stuff, I kind of took inspiration. I wanted to do a lot of that. And honestly, part of the reason that I'm even here doing video, like I haven't worked a 9-to-5 job in over a year because I left it and I decided to go do video. The only reason I had that skill set to be able to do that was because I think it was 2009, 2010, we started doing comedy videos on YouTube, and then realized how much of a passion I had for it. Then started doing things like safety videos for hospitals, and like just to kind of get my feet wet in like a corporate world. Started doing weddings and all this. And then next thing you know, I'm like, I could do narrative works. So as you go into narrative works, you need characters.
Right.
I started just being like, you know what, whatever. I can't find anybody. I'll just do it myself. And now, I mean, you go off to say Tony from Hack the Movies on YouTube, and we just did the Die Hard as a Christmas.
Yeah, I saw that. That was really good.
There's something that I can't leave alone with comedy, even though you see in our short films, it's a very stark contrast to this dark, dreary, depressing type of vibe to like, we're just jokesters. And even going in, it was hard to explain to like going into like the Thanatos music video. It's very hard to explain to Jared, like, hey, I know you do very heavy music and you kind of deal with heavy themes. I could show you my channel and I could show you my works. You're gonna think I'm goofy, so please come talk to me, and then we'll talk about what we can do. And it's so funny because one of his comments was like, I didn't think you guys were gonna be able to bring that vibe, and then we're out here like throwing TVs in the woods and like making them like look dead, throwing them in a lake. That was a fun one. So
hell yeah, man. Productions are badass, man. That's where I want to be all the time, you know.
Yeah, and it's cool like when it's not our stuff, to be able to go ahead and like just sit back and actually like act and do like dumb stuff like that, because less on your mind. But overall, I really do like being behind that camera and like telling a story. And I'm trying to skate around the fact that like our new short film for the mystery box that we did in October is like something really neat that we haven't really tried before. But I can't really show or say anything yet because we can't premiere it.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that too. I know I was talking to Jared and he was telling me that he had like a blast doing it.
He was awesome in it. He was really nervous going in. He was actually really awesome in that, so I was happy about that.
Yeah, that's what Brian was saying too, that he's really good. So
oh god,
yeah. So when's that coming out? When's that released to the public?
So here's the answer. We skirted the PG-13 rating, very close to the line. So right now on the Film Freeway page where you submit the film for short film or for film festivals, it's still in judgment status. If it goes through, I believe the film festival is very early April. If it doesn't go through, we're just going to release it. So
well, I hope it goes through for you guys.
We have good hopes because they did repost the poster that we sent over. So I'm hoping that poster is indicator that, we're going to be put in, because we really did like push the 13 a little bit, but I think we did well.
Well, we'll see.
Who's your favorite director?
Ooh, that's a good question. It really depends. I have a couple different ones. I obviously I love like the classic, like Tarantino, absolutely love. Stanley Kubrick, I go to see every one of his films when they come back into theaters where I could like watch them on the big screen. Oh man, I can't remember his name. The guy who did Blade Runner 2042. I can't remember his name, but
that's not Nolan, is it?
No.
Not Aronofsky.
That sounds right. I always forget his name. Yeah, but his themes are always very cool, and like the way that he tells the story. And you got people like Refn, who did Drive, and there's a bunch. I'm blanking out here as I'm talking about it. I wasn't expecting this question. I wasn't prepped in my press package for this question. No, but
that's on me. That's my bad.
Oh man, there we go. But yeah, no, you see a common theme between these. It's a lot of stories that are just kind of slices. They don't really have always the happy ending. I like anybody who does that, where it's not always a happy ending, where they use the visuals to communicate the story. There could be almost no dialogue in a film, and I'll absolutely love it. I'm not saying short film or silent film. I'm saying it just, the themes need to connect. Like one of my favorite movies from last year was a Chinese one called Limbo. It's black and white. That had a knife fight scene that wasn't gruesome by any means, but it made me tense, and I hadn't had that feeling in a film before. So I love stuff that kind of makes you experience what the character's experiencing, think about what the characters are going through, things like that. So I have these directors that I absolutely love and I take inspiration from, but I very much don't have like a single, hey, this is my guy, this is who I like base out of.
Right on.
Right. And it was Dennis Villanueva.
There we go. I couldn't remember his like full name. I always like forget it, but his films are very interesting to watch because of the visual aspect of them.
Nice. Yeah. So what's next on your agenda? What can we look forward to?
So we got a couple videos in hibernation right now. and it's just requires like 1 or 2 scenes to finish up, a little bit of refinement. We have a couple actual films, short films, and concepts that we've been working on. Nothing I could really go crazy into because it would just spoil concepts. But and I say we because there is the team, like you said in the beginning. My team is everything to me. It's the only reason I'm able to do half the stuff I do. But for like the short film aspect and the actual film aspect, I've been working on one of the films for 3 years now, and we just need to really kind of nail down the final scripts to push forward with them. Beyond that, Brian and I were looking at starting another YouTube channel where we kind of talk to newer filmmakers or even people that have been around for a while about what we experience in the industry without like giving them answers. I don't want to be that guy who's on YouTube. It's like, here's the gear you need. Here's the advice that is perfect for every situation. Because I find that gets people nowhere. I kind of want to take some of that knowledge I had from regular workplaces and training and be able to like kind of pull it back in and say, hey, you got to get the mindset for things. So that channel is called I Have a Camera. We've secured it. We're just working on some stuff behind the scenes on that right now.
Nice.
Besides that, it's all that it's a lot of the stuff that like pays the bills and goes through. So
Nice. So speaking of advice,
yeah.
For the big break, right? We give 3 months for round 1 for the contestants to make their own DIY music video. For the ones who have never attempted to make a video, what kind of advice would Mike give them?
So a big thing is to look at the people around you. To speak from the experience of being able to be involved with that last season was the fact that Jared threw up a post and one of his friends just randomly shared it. I literally commented on the post. I'm like, hey, Brian, you want to do some work? He just commented back like, let's do it. And then all of a sudden we're in contact. The only reason that connection was made was because he was able to utilize the people that were around him that already supported him. You don't exactly have to look outward all the time to be able to find a good resource, because the perfect resource for him at that moment was a friend who was just being supportive of his music endeavors, which was awesome. If you don't have that connection, if you're just starting out, you don't even like, you don't tell your friends or family that you're a musician and you're just kind of like waiting for it. I mean, the big thing is try and figure out what your style is, theme it to your own style. You don't have to have the latest, greatest of anything, gear, computer, lighting, audio, all that. I mean, audio is pretty important for this. But the big thing is
not on camera audio, because
exactly
it's all recorded already.
Exactly. That's why for this specifically, I would say the audio. But yeah, the big thing is like work within your limitations. Don't take the things that you don't have as like kind of like punch downs. Look at the things you have and work around their limitations to create something completely unique. For years, I filmed on one of those little stupid $100 flip video cameras, just making money doing what I was doing on the side to be able to get my first ever DSLR camera. And then after that, working through and being able to get my first like mirrorless. Now I'm looking at cinema cameras as my next one, because just over those years, those limitations that I had, I just learned how to utilize the best of them. And I still use that knowledge now to be able to leverage what I do have. So if you are looking to get into this as an artist and really kind of punch up your own thing, take those limitations in stride and really run with them. I mean, if you got a film on, say, a JVC camera from like 1985 and you've got videotape, do it. Figure out the best ways to do it. YouTube is an amazing resource to teach you all about what you already have and weird tricks that you can do with the equipment that you already have.
Wow, that is some excellent advice. Excellent. Yeah, I echo all of that. Yeah, absolutely. And reach out. You never know who's listening and who's able to help. And
that's the biggest takeaway that I would say is that connection and networking might form relationships that you ever knew that you never knew. Because if I never met Jared, I wouldn't have had a character for my last short film. If he never met me, I wouldn't have been able to do his music video. It just works. The world works around itself.
Right. You throw it out to the universe and the universe answers, basically.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So do you go out to shows at all? To like music?
I do.
You do?
Not as many as I would actually like, but I do go out to shows. The big thing is like during the winter, it's a little rough because I got a lot of hockey games on Fridays and Saturdays, and I'm a huge Pens fan, so it's a little rough. But no, I do try and make it. What was that?
Do you play Chell?
What was that?
Video game, NHL?
Oh, no, I do not. No, you want to know the hockey game I play? 2005's NHL Hits for the GameCube. It's actually on the shelf right behind us here.
You ever play Blitz the League? You could literally give your players steroids.
That's the NFL version of Hits.
Right.
It's amazing. Like I love that. Like
that NHL game had Limp Bizkit. Was that the one with Limp Bizkit? The whole soundtrack is like pretty much all Limp Bizkit.
That might have been
2002.
2004.
Yeah,
I know it was one of them. I know which one you're talking about.
It was just you're just fucking crushing Biscuit and just.
Oh my god. We were actually, it's funny that you're mentioning Limp Bizkit. We went down to Florida this year and I decided to drive for the first time ever, which amazing drive, just the whole day in the car. But I was like, I was jamming to Chocolate Starfish the entire way down this one state. I want to say it might have been Georgia when that came on.
That's what's up.
So
but yes, I do go to shows. Like I said, not as many as I would like to, and I'm trying to get out to more.
What's your favorite local venue?
So I really liked. I'm like blanking on names tonight. Carl Hall. Jesus, I was like, I liked Carl Hall. Now they're gone, unfortunately. V Spot is awesome. You always see a lot of stuff going on at V Spot, so that like. I haven't been there as much as I would like, but honestly, like I like that they're bringing in acts that like a lot of other venues wouldn't. They almost remind me of like Eleanor Rigby's or like I dare say Metro because Metro is so dirty.
I remember Metro. I was a Metro.
First of all, Metro's the best. Second of all, Eleanor Rigby's name drop.
Yeah, that's I actually liked Eleanor Rigby's.
I loved Eleanor Rigby's. I want an Eleanor Rigby shirt now.
Yeah, you get all those vintage.
Is that like the Beatles?
Now we could just print them for ourselves. It's basically just paradise. We have reached it's the best.
You got to get some Top Dog shirts in there.
I have like 4.
My god, dude! I have original Top Dog tokens on the shelf back here.
Oh no, I'm not wearing one today.
But yeah, that's like for that. The reason I like those smaller venues is like I was always into like more of like the heavier music, like hardcore metal stuff like that. So those venues kind of bring back like almost like a sense of home from when I was really in the scene. I was constantly going to shows and everything like that. Because even like this year, like I've only been to like a handful. The best show I was at, unfortunately, wasn't even in the area this year because like I had to literally drive across state lines to see Vanna play their Curses album in full. So
nice. Well, if you're looking for a show to go to in the next week, we've got Robin with your weekly shows.
Hi, it's Robin with this week's original shows in northeastern Pennsylvania. On Friday, the 30th, at the V-Spot in Scranton, Silhouette Lies and 3 other bands. At the Keystone Stage in Oliphant, Decipher. At Benny Brewing Company in Wilkes-Barre, Dustin Douglas. At Best Cigar Pub in Drums, Patrick Motto. At Back Mountain Brewing in Dallas, Adam McKinley. At the Stonehouse in Carbondale, Funk Musket. On Saturday, the 31st, New Year's Eve, at PJ's 1910 Pub in Scranton, Kyle Demko and Anthony Picotaggio. On Tuesday, January 3rd, at the Scranton Cultural Center in Scranton is the Underground Microphone featuring Dave Brown and Sean Caden. If you want your show featured on the next episode, go to thebigbreak.org/podcast and click the Submit Your Show button.
Excellent job, Robin, as always. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. But
the ticket prices I noticed were amazing too. Like legitimately.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
$5 for that
Dude, I
first
don't
one. I
know
was
if
like,
anyone's ever been to an underground mic, but they're awesome.
They're awesome.
Oh,
Brian
they're
Basically
Hollenbaugh.
in the basement of the Masonic Temple in Scranton, which is basically just made by ghosts, let alone it's like there's ghosts that live there and all this other shit. But it's awesome. They just do like acoustic stuff. I didn't know that they started that back up. I'm happy to see that.
Yeah.
That video that
Are you going?
You
gonna go? Should we all go?
I'll probably just stay in my house like a cave. Like
I hosted a
winter, dude.
Halloween
I just
one
can't
before.
I can't do anything in the winter. I'm just a troll. I can't. I just stay home and just stay by the
It's
fire.
fair. It's fair. It sucks in the winter.
But that's what gives me the life in the summer.
Right. I actually hosted an
Hard
underground mic Halloween show.
You did what?
I hosted an underground mic Halloween show. Their host backed out, and she was like, "Can you find like 6 performers?" Did it, and then I just kept changing costumes every time I brought somebody else up.
it's amazing.
It was a vibe.
Yeah. Damn. Nice. So, what else is going on in Mike's life? That's cool. That's happening.
There's not too much crazy, honestly. I've been really hunkering down on a lot of the like newer stuff. I mean, I sent you the message. It's ironic that we were talking about the TVs because last night I was literally like half an hour away picking up like an old 1980s Sony CRT TV with the fat back, crazy speakers and all that.
That's cool.
That's more of a personal use one. That won't go in the woods.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, besides that, trying to get back into like artwork and stuff like that, kind of keeping myself grounded on like other mediums. Don't want to forget about your hobbies.
Do you draw?
Oh god, yeah. That's
Got a little painting back there.
That guy. Oh yeah. That's I was gonna draw the one logo, the Christian that we have. I call him Christian, but he's like the guy with the lipstick that you always see from us. And I was gonna try and draw him for the podcast. I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna make an old man instead.
Nice. Do you do your own or do you storyboard? In that case?
I storyboard sometimes for like the bigger projects. I try and like do some type of reference to myself, but not entirely. Honestly, guerrilla really fits our definition more than anything. Yeah. But yeah,
I'm a huge pre-production, like crazy pre-production. Like I gotta have everything. So shot sheets, storyboards, checklists galore, you know, everything. Shoot order. I even do like top down maps.
Gotcha. Like
and like where the camera positions are going to be, and then the cameras are numbered to match, you know, the actual shot. And that helps me break it down and knowing which order we're going to shoot everything in, because I typically don't shoot in order. You know, everything is shot out of sequence. So,
and that does help. Like if that's the one thing, that's a one thing I like recommend to people like who get into it, dabble in that at minimum, because like I never did, and it's so helpful when you need it, you need it.
Oh yeah.
But for the artwork,
well, especially if you're like, if you have time restraints on location, you know, you don't want to keep people out on set longer than they have to be there. You know, 16 18-hour shoots sometimes.
I'm so guilty,
you
of
know.
that.
Yeah, you know, so if you go in there knowing what you're shooting, you know, right off the bat, you're saving a ton of time and a ton of, you know, you're not wasting other people's time too, sitting around, you know, waiting for their time to get on camera. So
oh god, yeah.
Well,
yeah, for the artwork thing, like legitimately, like that's the only type of like formal education like I basically have is like graphic design. So that's why you see like a lot of like logos and weird stuff coming out of us. Like I ran my own clothing company for a while because it was just like something fun to do on the side, and then just transitioned into like, hey, let's make dope graphics. Like the ski mask logo is like just.
Are you guys on merch booth?
No, we're not on merch booth.
Why not?
Because we're unmarketable.
We
so
caught you. What happened? Now we caught you.
I'm on merch booth. You should be on merch booth.
I'm on merch booth.
I never got the invite. I don't know how to do this.
Shame. Shame on you. We should just do this to everybody that comes on the show. If they don't have one, we just shame them and
yeah, we're on like one of
anyone
those
fucking know you guys.
Yeah, we're on one of those direct print services
yeah,
where
that's
you could
basically
like
what
get like
Mercury
water
is.
ink.
Yeah, they send it and it's just painted on. They just,
Yeah, it smells like sulfur when you get it.
Probably sulfur. We're basically DTG, but it's like we'll hook you up. We'll share.
All right, hell yeah, we'll talk.
Yeah, we'll talk.
Whoop whoop.
Right. I'll get out of there.
Yeah, so
That's a good idea. That's a good ad. We should just
yeah.
do that as just shame. Hey, I'm
shame.
The second somebody talks about their brand, like, hey, are you with us yet? Do you want to join us? It's like a cult.
Shame.
Oh
it's
god,
a
if you guys want to make
family.
if you guys want to make a cult ad, let's get together.
Might as well,
on
yeah,
this.
exactly. You might as well lean into it and just.
I don't know. Crystalia ruined Colts for everybody.
Huh?
Crystalia ruined Colts for everybody.
You had to bring down the vibe with that. Jesus Christ.
Sorry.
Anyway, got any Kool-Aid?
Johnny Kool-Aid.
I love these little
I'd be-
pop-ins.
I'd probably like be the one who like drank the Kool-Aid and forgot. Like I'm giving everyone Kool-Aid and then I forget
Whoops.
and then I
You drink it
Kool-Aid.
first because you're thirsty.
Yeah.
I'm so parched. Oh, look, Kool-Aid.
That's a good like short film right
I'm
there.
sorry, I was thirsty.
The cult that
There
never
was
was.
Kool-Aid.
I think that's a Family Guy skit. I forgot.
Oh man. So, are you going to try to get on this Nanacoke movie?
I haven't reached out to the guy yet. I've actually I completely forgot about reaching out to him, so I do have to get in contact with them. I actually wrote it down on my notes when you wrote it or when you said it before. So, yeah, I'm interested in it. I know Brian was on set at least one day for it. I'm interested to see what they got going on for it. So, be cool to attach my name to something a little more local and larger. We'll say.
Yeah. So principal photography starts in like June of 2023. So that's, yeah, I'm super stoked that there's a full feature being done here while I'm here. Like,
is that the final name of it too? I've been wondering about that.
Nanacoke?
Yeah.
Namticoke? Yeah. I believe so.
I was interested on that. I'm like, it's bold calling it the town. I was like,
They
that's
have to
neat.
pick of all towns. I mean,
Well, the one producer is from there, and she's worked there for. Let me get her name because I'm horrible with names.
I'm surprised they're calling it Nanacoke. Like I've seen more zombies just hanging around in Wilkes-Barre, like half dead.
Yeah, let me get her name real quick. It is. Somebody will probably know her.
I can look this up for you. You continue. I'm looking this up.
Okay.
Mike, I
Karen
noticed,
Cooper Meta.
Ooh, that's a cool
So
name.
Karen Cooper Meta, and she like did like I think she was like an art teacher at one point at Nanticoke, and then she was like art director or something. Like she's I know she's got a bunch of Nanticoke specific stuff that she's done. So
That's cool.
I think that's where where it came from.
From art teacher to zombie filmmaker.
Hey man,
I love it. No, I love it.
Yeah. You're a horror fan as well then.
Ironically, not too crazy of a horror fan.
Wow.
It's because there's very little in that genre that like really gets me excited. Like, here's the thing. I'm not saying I hate horror. I actually love horror, but like I watch them. They're not something I'm extremely passionate about until it gets into like weirder stuff. Like,
right.
Like I can't even tell you the last time like I saw a horror movie that I was like, this is absolutely perfect. Like it's just, I don't know. There's just, it doesn't do it for me as much as like,
I like the Twilight Zone-y kind of what the hell.
Yeah. Like Cabin in the Woods is like the quintessential, like what a horror movie could be.
That one is great. it's like 2 movies in one.
Oh, me and my wife were gonna walk out of the theater. We went and saw it in theaters because we were 19 when that came out or something like that. And we're like, oh my god, like let's go see this. Halfway through the film, I'm like, yo, should we walk out of this? Like this is stupid. It's just like a cliche of a horror movie. And then they flipped the switch, and we were like, oh, this is the best horror movie I've seen in forever.
Nice.
Yeah, I love that movie.
It's the reason I talk about it to this day.
Yeah, there's
Your whole
another
life could
one.
have changed if you left.
Yeah.
There's Oz Zombies. Have you seen that one?
No, what is that?
That one. So basically, group of friends turn into zombies from eating some ice cream that had zombie juice on it or whatever. And the way it's shot is once they become zombies, when you're seeing things from their perspective, everything is black and white.
Ooh,
And
very
everybody
cool.
around them is moving like really fast, and you have the chipmunk voice from like you speed up audio, right?
Yeah.
But they're able to communicate together, and they're talking, and then they slowly figure out that, oh my god, they're zombies.
That's actually a cool concept. I like that a lot.
It's really cool. There's this one part that I'll just talk about real quick. There's a super hammered drunk dude in an alleyway taking a leak, and they're able to talk to him because he's so slow.
Like he's just inebriated to the point of being a zombie.
So they're able to communicate, and it's I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, the whole thing has this comedic vibe to it. Yeah, that's the good one.
That's like when it comes to zombies, like my forever favorite at this point is like 28 Days Later, and I think that kind of aligns with like my very guerrilla, low budgety, just situational approach. And without saying too much, like me and Brian actually has an idea for something with zombies, and I'm not gonna say too much about it, but we were just talking about it, and I know he's watching, and that's why I'm bringing it up. So I wanna work on that more because we had a real fun idea for that one.
Yeah. I think mine goes back to like Night of the Living Dead.
Oh, I mean, I saw that in theaters. Like the classics, you can't beat the classics.
Right. So, I mean, yeah, I remember just being a little kid watching that and just being like, wow, I love zombies now.
And it's like we were talking about like Kids in the Hall a little bit before, is like for the comedy inspiration, like their Night of the Living Dead rendition is like one of my favorite comedy skits like ever. Like the and they're just like throwing the shoe in every scene. Like it's just without those, you wouldn't have like other properties parodying it and like inspiring. It's so cool.
Yeah. Or Return of the Living Dead. That's another really good one.
Oh god, yeah.
Where the zombies can talk.
Yeah. for whatever reason.
Right. So yeah, all those are good.
God, yeah.
But yeah, 28 Days Later, that was one of the first one that they had running zombies, right?
Yeah, that
was that the first one? That was just like
that was just going in. I don't know if it was the first one, but it started going in that path. Like you had where fast zombies kind of became a thing. Like you had that movie come out. You had the fast zombies in like video games at that point. You started having like what was the one in the mall? Is that Night of the Living Dead? No.
Dawn of the Dead.
Dawn of the Dead. And you had the guys that ran in that one, and it just it all kind of spiraled into fast zombies could be a thing. And but there was something just so cool about 28 Days Later, like the whole vibe of it, because there's not a lot of zombies in it. Like when you rewatch it, there's not a lot of zombies. It's just more of like, what do these people do? It was kind of like a more gritty rendition and less like cinematic than the Walking Dead, or less soap opera.
Right.
It was like so much tension from like waiting for something to.
Oh God, yeah.
Well, that's what zombie movies really are. It's not so much about the zombies, but it's about the people and how they survive, and how people end up being the biggest threat as opposed to zombies. It's like you get to a point where you can deal with the zombies, but it's these group of people, or or even within the group, there's tension and all this stuff. So it's really more about the the human connection or disconnection, as opposed to the zombies themselves.
I think that's why it left an impact too. Like, I mean, you look at that army barracks in that film, and like how they're going to be treating the women, how they have one of their own chained up because he's a zombie. Like, it's just, I love it.
Right. Yeah.
I noticed you're a big Pokemon guy. Was creeping on your Instagram.
Yeah, a little bit.
What's if you're picking your top like starter Pokemon, favorite game, team? What are you going with?
So honestly, like I'm a retro guy when it comes to the Pokemon, like 100% tried and true. So it's legitimately, if we're going like starters, it's
conversation.
What was that?
I'm getting in on this conversation.
Perfect. Yeah.
Playing Pokemon.
I like the original gens. I just love the pure innocence of it. I'm going with Charmander as my starter. It was Pokemon Red was the first game I picked out when I was 8 years old for my black Game Boy Pocket. Yeah. So it's gonna be that. It's just all the classics. Like you go through the show, like the original season is just like where it's at for me. I actually have right there is an original Pokemon binder with all my original cards and everything like that. Like I never got rid of it. So
my sister sold mine for like gushers at school.
I never sold a card. Never sold a card, and that was my big thing. It's like the nostalgia hits for me more than anything, and that's why
when I watch that show, that's like the most nostalgia I ever feel.
It's like
super watching that show. It's weird. It's
bad though.
I love it. It's so bad,
it's so good, but it's so bad.
I don't even know what the story. I've watched it hundreds of times. I don't know if I've ever made it past episode like 30 or so. There's like 100 of them, and it's all season 1. It's like, could we just understand we could break these down because our human brains can't? But that show is good. I love that show. The intro and everything. It's like, it's good. All right, thanks. I needed that Pokemon conversation.
Everyone needs a Pokemon conversation, I guess. But yeah, dude, do you have, we got to start wrapping things up, but do you have like, if you want to plug anything, plug away?
I'm not really plugging anything except for I mean, honestly, the biggest project we worked on recently was that mystery box. So keep your eyes out on the NEPA Film Festival Mystery Box Film Challenge. You'll be able to see something kind of big we worked and collaborated on with a lot of new faces. That was the big thing. We brought in a lot of new people for that. If anything, I just want to like shout out just a couple of people really quick who have been like awesome this year. Like obviously Brian David, top of that list. Sean Kelly. Great. PA on every one of my sets, assistant directing on a lot of stuff. Travis Cox, my audio guy and idea man. You got 2 people in the little more rigid, like professionalism structure. You got Josh Poplowski, awesome kid to work with if you're looking for like wedding videos or anything that's like high quality production. With him, my guy at the hockey game sitting right behind me, Tommy Kolakowski. Everyone up at Scranton Films has been awesome this year. I've just had the pleasure of working with Desiree and Tony and Zach Wilcox. They were awesome. And yeah, I mean, everyone that I've been working with for the past year, minus a select few, have been like some of the best I've ever met. So
that's awesome, man. That's good to hear. That's badass, dude. And yeah, you're right. I mean, it's the team. It's the team.
It's 100%. And not to go off on another tangent, to really wrap it up here, like a little bit of advice for anybody that's going into it. Like you are going to meet a lot of people very quickly. Make sure you research who you are working with constantly, because it's not all sunshine and rainbows, and you learn that real quick. Mm-hmm. Make sure you're like Googling their companies, Googling their names, finding out those reviews, because it can turn messy. I've been extremely lucky with all the people that I just mentioned and like meeting awesome faces this entire year and a bunch of new people, but make sure you're doing your research. You don't want to get wrapped up in the dark side.
Right. Well, I mean, you can apply that to anything.
It's it's hard going in freelance. That's why I mentioned it.
There's some shiesty people out there, and there are some people out there that are just a pain in the ass to work with. Period.
Shiesty is the reason I'm bringing this up, and I'm not going further than that.
Oh, no, no need. But yeah, so yeah, thank you, dude, for talking and giving everybody and us your history and that video, man, dude, that's awesome.
Hopefully somebody hits me up after this for their next season video. It'll be fun. I love doing
actually now that you bring this up, are you available for a contestant for season 4? If again, this would be non-paid, it would be 100% voluntary.
Yeah, I mean,
you know,
that's the thing. I don't expect like I know when I'm supposed to make my money, and I know when it's going to be a fun thing. Like, absolutely, if there's somebody that's a good fit or feels like they'd be a good fit for not only our style, like we push our style, yeah, reach out to me. YouTube/ on our at Unmarketable. Like honestly, it's my bag ITS MIBAG on Instagram is an amazing place to hit me up recently, and I don't know why, because nobody likes writing emails anymore. So I just say hit me up on Insta if you want to do that stuff.
Yeah, I've actually also found that everybody has their own way of communication, and you can't always. I've gotten myself in trouble for assuming that somebody prefers this, version of communication over another.
Yeah,
But
busy.
you also have to be upfront with people if you prefer one over the other.
Yeah.
But yeah, last week we played a little clip from running in flip-flops. This week we want to show you the entire video, but before we do that, thank you again, Mike.
Thank you,
Mike.
Johnny, thank you. You're awesome. John Fry, you're awesome. My entire team, awesome. Please like, share, support, do all that fun stuff. And running in flip-flops, Pickles.
Because I only say it once. I've had enough and ever seems to bring my spirit up. And it's because the water running down the children's eyes, it never stops, and nobody ever is surprised. You see it's 10:30. You're in your bed, you push the thoughts away that slip into your head. But now and then something slithers in to permeate the cracks. You must repent on having peace among the nervous. No one deserves this. They got the chains, they got the know-how. The devil's on the shoulder, connections at the top. They got the go-down. It doesn't matter if you're always on your toes. Before you know it, all you have will be the same other. Listen up, why the fuck I gotta say it more than once? I've had enough and ever seems to bring my spirit up. And it's because the water running down the children's eyes, it never stops. Nobody ever is surprised. Listen up, what the fuck? Don't put your body parts in pickle jars. Listen up, what the fuck? Don't put your body parts in pickle jars. The know-how, the devil's on the shoulder, connections at the top because they sold out. It doesn't matter if you're always on your toes. Before you know it, all you'll have will be the scent on the clothes. Listen up, why the fuck I gotta say it more than once? I've had enough and ever seems to bring my spirit up. And it's because the water running down the children's eyes, it never stops. Nobody ever is surprised. Listen up, what the fuck? What the fuck? Don't put your body parts in pickle jar. Listen up, what the Thank you.
Thanks.
Oh.